Urgent pod. What do you do when
you're
somebody...
just getting right into it.
No,
No friendly banter?
No, we've
Okay.
had friendly banter, if you know what I'm talking about.
Nice jacket.
What do you do? This is why it's urgent. What do you do when somebody who's broken your trust refuses to see what is obvious when you're told you're ridiculous for asking for the bare minimum of safety? If you have ever found yourself in a situation where you feel like you are going crazy and you're questioning whether you really are, this podcast, my friend, is for you.
Yeah, today we're going to be talking about patterns and tolerance. People asking for certain things after betrayal to help build trust, they can get a lot of defensiveness back at them. But we're going to give you some ideas on how to feel stronger moving forward.
Yes, and this is for people dealing with relational breakdown, or even if you have not, this is still a really helpful template to understand what is appropriate when asking for boundaries. Like, am I crazy? Am I a neurotic woman for thinking this? Am I a controlling man because I want this? These are all real questions that if handled correctly, you know, I mean, you can get real powerful clarity. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to read an email that we got that sparked this. That's why we said it was urgent, because this email hit us both, you know, in the heart in the best way. It was like, man, I've seen too much of this. And anytime that happens, that's why your emails, you can email us at hello@carlandlaura.com. No Lentz in there?
No.
Just
Too
straight
long.
Carl and Laura? Okay.
Carl and Laura is just
hello@carlandlaura.com.
easier.
carlandlaura.com. But this is where we're getting such vital intel, is from our amazing listeners. And we love you. We're grateful for you, every single person that is a part of this podcast family. Really grateful for you. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your constructive help on things we can do better. It's why we're doing this. But this email got us. So we're going to read it, protected the names, see if you can relate to this, and we'll go from there. Go, love.
Okay. I've listened to your podcast where you talk about husband following or having women friends. Okay, some of my needs and requests are that my husband does not need to be talking with other women on Facebook, etc., even if it's just general chatter. Mostly younger girls from his gym, and he says it's called being friendly. Oh, I've got so many thoughts. He cannot get it through his head that it's not appropriate or needed as a married man. Oh, and for context, he's cheated on me with over 200 plus prostitutes and over 200 massage parlor visits and strippers also, and 3 emotional one-sided affairs over our 30 years of marriage. He's a PK kid, pastor's kid. And he can't understand why this is a boundary I need. It should be like that anyway, even if he doesn't cheat. What resources or other podcasts can I share with him so it sinks in? He thinks I'm being ridiculous. He is a social person in nature and says he gets energized by connecting with both men and women. I'm so hurt and I feel so frustrated. He just can't see how this is wrong in our marriage.
Wow. Yeah, hard even here on the second time around. If you can relate to any parts of that email, there's going to be a better way forward for you right away. Obviously, some things jump out, and that's a real email. That's not something we're just like making up to have, you know, epic conversation around. But there are so many things here, and huge shout out to this person who sent it. If your quick judgment, by the way, which was to hear 200 affairs, well, what an idiot of a person staying. That is a low-hanging fruit, right. I believe, intelligent response, because you have no idea what's going into that. And I'll give you a little insight for those of you who don't know what sexual addiction can look like. 200 affairs, it is outrageous.
200.
And it's not outrageous in that circle. So when you get around other men that have sexual proclivities that are absolutely out of control, some call it a sex addiction, that's really common, and unfortunately. So 200 prostitutes and multiple affairs, and you're going, why would this woman stay? We no longer ask that. No. We ask, what are we going to do with this? Yeah. And she brought up a couple times, like, he doesn't get it. He just thinks he's. And even the response he gave of anything being ridiculous, we will dig into. But what this is not about is Facebook and friendly chatter.
No.
what this is about.
Yeah, it's about self-awareness,
Correct?
repentance,
Correct.
empathy, and the capacity to hold integrity. So this woman has dealt with a lot. She's trying to keep her marriage. Her husband's lucky that she's still around, and
Very.
he's coming at her with these responses.
Yeah.
So we felt like this was a really good time because we get these
yeah.
type of emails all the time.
And it's frustrating. I mean, go ahead, but I don't cut you
No,
off. I was
you
going to
go.
say it's frustrating in that it seems to be often that the wife who has been holding the bag has all of the complications as well to manage. It just is like one of those things where you go immediately, if we were to sit down with this amazing person and we love you, I would say, he is lucky to have you. Do you think that?
Yeah. Right.
Do you really believe that he's the fortunate one? Because if there is a tape in her head that plays, it's like, I've been cheated on and I don't want to do this because of that. All those things we're going to get into, you deserve better than that. Like, you are a blessing to still be there. You are brave for staying. And now you're going to be responsible for the information that you've been given. And I think this is the most fundamental, basic tenet of rebuilding a relationship after anything, let alone betrayal. If you're the one that broke the trust, you are now the one that has the opportunity to change all that you do and honor all the requests you are given from the person you're trying to rebuild trust with. I don't know why this is a hard concept. Actually, I do know why. I shouldn't say that. I know why it's a hard concept, because that means men have to own and change. And the notion that the betrayed person asks anything that's outrageous, that is outrageous. Let me say that again. So if you are in my seat, the seat of the betrayer, and the person who's been betrayed but wants to somehow still reconcile, you cannot ask me anything outrageous. What I did is outrageous. That is a beautiful posture to hold. So if you're a husband and you're like, okay, my wife's going to let me try to work my way back, but she's asking this crazy thing of you. For a while, my guy, nothing's crazy.
Right.
Shut your mouth, deal with it, take it, consider it. There will be time for conversation perhaps down the road, but to push back on something, you're the one. I put myself in that shoes again. For me to give you grief about anything you've asked of me over the last 5 years would be a red flag right away, because it's like, it's outrageous that you're here. Yeah. It's outrageous that you stayed. It's outrageous that you would give me a shot. So you could ask me to build a paper mache dragon outside, and I might question whether you're crazy, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to build myself a paper mache dragon.
Right.
It's not outrageous. Outrageous is breaking your marriage vows.
Well,
outrageous is lying to your face. Outrageous is tricking you when your intuition was right. That's outrageous.
Yeah. And yes, because exactly what you did in the first place is outrageous.
Hey, don't get re-mad. Don't get re-triggered at me. I'm just using...
So I would say for women, whatever you're asking for in this season, for a while, it could be very outrageous. But that's okay, because that will change as you do your work. Correct. And it will change as he does his work. But what's happening is you need time to get your bearings, because your nervous system is out of whack and your identity is confused. You're comparing yourself to other women, and all the things that he has done ruminates in your head all the time. It's an exhausting season. Yeah. And you have general fear that's running through your body. And the last thing you need to feel is guilty about what you're asking for. So this season is like, this is your season. You get to be selfish and you get to ask for things that might sound outrageous. Yeah. But his response needs to be, yes, ma'am. Whatever it takes, I will do. If that's not happening, I think that's a really big red flag and something that you have to take account for, that you're going to think about, what am I going to do next? If these things that I'm asking, he's not going to do, or he will not try to change, then there's another step after that. But for right now, we're going to talk about what those are. Yeah. And there is, I mean, realize this, my friend, who might be sitting in the same seat as me. You create it, even if she is asking outrageous things, please don't forget the why. Like, my wife's crazy, man.
My wife's crazy. She won't even let me talk to girls that I work with. She's crazy? You broke your marriage vows, bro. Not crazy. She doesn't even trust me, man. Like, I can't even go over
Is
to
he from Cali?
Yeah. I can't even go watch football with my boys anymore. Like, I get that I cheated, but like, I gotta like check. Shut your mouth, my guy. You're silly. It's the wrong posture. Thank you for letting me leave the house. Appreciate you. I'm gonna go watch football. How can I make you feel safe? Normal. Not normal. You're still probably, dealing with some self-delusion. She's all over me, man, about where I'm at. She's all over you, lest we forget how we got here in the first place. That's why I am not a big fan of guys who are like totally I tell you all the time, I will never forget what's happened to us because I hold it in a beautiful place.
Right.
And it keeps me locked, keeps me excited. Thank God I get to remember what happened. Because I do, it's not going to happen again. Here's why. That's a powerful place to be. It's not like, oh, I thought you forgave me. You should forget. That's what stupid people say.
Right.
To forgive and forget is foolish. To forgive, remember, choose, place, live with intention, wise.
Yeah. And it's not too late for this guy to switch it around, especially if she's still hoping that this is going to change. So there's hope for them.
Definitely.
And there's hope for him. And I hope that he chooses to do the hard yards here because it is going to take a lot of work for him, obviously.
Yeah.
He's still in that stage. He hasn't fully, I don't think, given up those addictive patterns.
Would seem very apt.
Yeah. And so him looking for that validation on Facebook or DMs or whatever he's doing and being friendly at the gym, I just know for me, that just wasn't.
Even, babe, yeah, even though to go even further, like, you got to repair everything. So, like, I'm just being friendly. Who cares what you're just being? She was just being faithful when you broke her heart.
Right.
So I don't like it. You have to be, and this is going to save somebody a trip to rehab, maybe. Maybe it'll save tears from a child because a dad kept doing something stupid. You have to be willing to put it all on the table, not just repair a few things. Like, if you have cheated in your marriage, you didn't just end up cheating. It's always our kind of chuckle when someone's like, my husband, he's been so awesome forever. He made one bad call. Impossible.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist.
There's other things that have led
You
there.
make hundreds of decisions before the one decision that led to the one action. Hundreds. So it's called, when you're in a really healthy, therapeutic, correct system, you're going to be taught a system called being suspicious of it all. So I was told right away, Carl, be suspicious of everything you do innately. Everything you think is innocuous, like small or non-consequential, pretend it's all consequential. The way you talk to waitresses, the way you answer your phone, the way you end an email, the way that everything you think has just been normal, you have to be humble enough to put it on the table and say, well, truth is, I did not like where I ended up. So everything's on the table. Most guys
That's good.
who don't get better don't want to do that. Guys who do get better say, hey, I'm so willing to get better and I'm so grateful to have a shot that I'll rethink it. Even if it's hard. It was hard for me. I had to really learn, even to the depths of, I had a therapist say to me, so you're a bit of a fighter, are you? You're a bit of a contrarian. I'm like, oh yeah. She's like, okay, your job for the next week, and this was horrible. I was already in a bad state at this point in rehab. I hated it. I wasn't getting my drugs. It was just the worst. She goes, for the rest of the week, everything you hear, I want you to pretend that it's right first. And I was like, that just sounds stupid. She goes, no, you know what sounds stupid? Being in Arizona because you cheated on your wife and wrecked your family. That sounds stupid. And I was like, I hate therapy. And so I did it for a week, and it really shocked me about how dangerous my template was. Because there's a beautiful part of being suspicious of what you hear. Like, is that true? But for a week, I had to go, what if it's true first? And then, but to me, I was hoodwinked into humility because I wasn't choosing to be humble. I was tricked into being humble. Sometimes it's like whatever works. But I was like, okay, yeah. The way that I operate in life might have to shift. My relationship with Jesus, solid. I get it. All that. Yeah. But after that, like, I got to be transforming. And it was a beautiful revelation for me. So I think that's a huge deal. Be suspicious of everything. And then it's to you, babe, you've never once gotten weirded out by that. I'm like, hey, I'm going to a doctor's office. There's a woman there who's the receptionist. Just want you to know. Okay. Thanks, babe. I don't know if you need to know that or not, but I'm suspicious of it all.
Yeah.
And it makes you stronger in all.
Well, I will
because
say,
you're willing to be wrong.
I'll say that it helped in the beginning to hear those type of things because it showed that you were aware of my feelings and reassuring me all the time, which when you've been betrayed, the most important thing is the safety and reassurance that you need all the time. And so the more that you are able to communicate those things, like, hey, I'm going to wherever, down to the beach or whatever, and there might be blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, like just knowing that you're aware of it and that you're thinking about me was a huge trust builder.
You were saying it shows awareness, and I think that's all that woman that we just heard from, that amazing person, is looking for. How could you be so unaware?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just being friendly. Every statement like that, I'm just being friendly. Oof. I just said that to be nice. It's just normal. It's time to question all of it if you want a healthy future. What do you have to lose? That's what's so funny, because if you're right, you get to keep doing it. But if you're wrong, maybe you get to shift and change something that can bring you a lot of life.
Okay, just to be clear, to reject easy little ass from the brave person who's trying is insane. It's like standing in a house and it's burnt down and you're just hanging out there with the matches while it's still burning and you're saying, relax, I'm just playing with the fire.
That is a great metaphor.
It's just crazy. So whatever she's asking, I don't think it's a problem. But here's the first big theme that we're going to talk about. You can't rebuild trust while the behaviors that broke it are still being defended, which is, it sounds like it is happening with him being like, what? I'm just being friendly. I'm just talking to younger women. What?
So what does it feel like from the woman's perspective when she makes these asks? Please don't do this anymore. Please start doing this. And the guy's defensive. What does that feel like from the woman's perspective?
It feels like you're justifying your behavior. And you're justifying the pain that you've caused and you're minimizing the hurt that she's feeling.
So defensiveness feels like justification of.
Yes.
That's really huge. And I think I hear you. I hear that today. And I see it, even in my own past responses at times that I had to amend quickly because I felt that. I think that guys can be more aware quicker. So understand this. When you defend, this is awesome, babe. It's actually a really key point. When she asks you to do something and you defend your old behavior, another way to put that is you're saying the tears that you have shed are not enough for me to just change.
Yep.
What will it take? Because to me, it's like, I don't care what your reasoning are. The way that I broke your heart, that is reason. Just because of that, I'll change whatever. So I know I broke your heart and I'm sorry, but you can't expect me to stop going to the gym. Cool, bro. To that guy, let me just say this. This actually feels really good to say.
Please say it.
We believe, obviously, in marriage. We think divorce is extraordinarily traumatic and painful. And stop wasting the time and the life of a beautiful person that you have said you want to be married to and doing what you want to do as well.
Yeah, you don't get to do that.
Be a man.
Sorry.
Let her go.
Yep.
Let her go. That's not on her. That's between you and God now. But for me to, for instance, get back in this marriage with you that you gave me a chance and then still treat you like I'm bummed that I got to be single and I got to do all this stuff, all I would have done is placate for a perception.
Well, I think what it shows me is that he's not ready to break those addictive cycles that he is in. So he is still proving to me that he is not willing to change. Yeah. He's not willing to do whatever it takes to build trust with her. Him saying some of these things and justifying his behaviors, like going to the gym even, or like
whatever it is, that's not okay. And he's proven that he does not want to break those habits. And even if, let's just say, yeah, but Carl, she's asking me things that are illogical. You're illogical.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's asking me, for things that are just completely out of bounds. You lived out of bounds, par for the course. And it's not forever. So hear me when I say this, because there is a vindictive woman out there who's going to weaponize this 20 years in. She can be like, see, I'm saying, we're not saying that there's not work to be done on the other side of the tracks.
Right.
What we're clearly saying is that there's a time for that, and it's not early. And my definition of early post-infidelity is the following 10 years. Let's just consider that to be a first chapter.
Yeah.
10 years of perhaps illogical requests.
I would say at least the 5.
We've had that.
Like we know Jim Kress, one of a therapist that we know really well. He says 5 years, and then you'll really start to
see the fruit or lack of work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we are 5 years,
Very
and
true.
I will say it doesn't take a year or
4 years.
Yeah,
It takes right now.
We are at year 5, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and we've done the hard work, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
And you have to be consistent.
And we've needed
all
of
it's
it.
worth it. And it has taken every minute of every day of those 5 years.
And it may forever.
Exactly.
So maybe there is some help to be offered in the regards of time. Like, what should our relationship look
Don't even think
like
about
by
it.
now?
Don't think about
What do
the
you mean
time.
by that? What do you mean by that? Like, should we still be fighting about old triggers? Should you? Maybe it's okay. What if it's okay? What if it doesn't mean you haven't grown? What if it means you're actually growing? So we don't look at our fights or conflicts now as, I can't believe we're still here. We're the opposite. We're always like, it's a new place.
Yeah.
So today's new. How do you feel today?
Right.
Not the biggest deal in the world.
Yep.
So I think that's a huge, to the email, let's pick apart some of the questions. You brought it up. Why does this man feel the need to connect with other women to feel alive? That's where I get my life. I think he said I'm friendly.
He's a friendly guy.
That has nothing to do with feeling alive. That's feeding an old system that needs to die anyway.
He's obviously probably really struggles with validation and getting it from the right places. He right now is getting it from the women at the gym.
Well, there's no probably. So if you have had over 200 sexual encounters with prostitutes, it's a definite that he may not even know it yet, but science will prove to him there is a hole in your soul that you are filling with the wrong kind of validation.
And you can only fill that hole
by yourself
and with God, because you cannot get that validation, and you never will.
Never.
And it's clear, 200 prostitutes, you are not going to get that validation filled ever from anyone.
It's not to say that he doesn't have some healthy grounds to share where he's coming from in his marriage. Because
absolutely.
We've said this before. If you're new to Lights On, go back a couple pods. I talk about what is probably an appropriate level for a man to have to fill on his own. I put it about 99% to 1. 99% validation has to come from my own life and my own relationship with God. And just for kicks, maybe God left it for Laura, for you to be the icing on the cake. Right. But if you tell me, man, you look handsome today, and I'm like, now I'm complete.
Right.
I am in deep trouble. If I already feel like I am attractive to you, because I'm happy with myself, and you're like, hey, you look cool today. Cool. If you didn't give me that, I'm not walking into freaking Starbucks, and the first barista that puts her name on my cup with the smiley face, I'm like, what does that mean? I needed that. My wife doesn't do that for me. That's a weak man.
Yeah.
It's okay to be a weak man in process. It's not okay to be a weak man that lives at Weakville, Weak Town, weak apartment complexes. Time to move out of that locale, my brother. I think what story is he still living that needs to prove he's desirable to be valuable? So men often do that. Like, the level of desire people have for me proves my value. It's simply a short, fruitless walk that some guys stay in, and it's big. Until that's fixed, the door's open forever.
Do you think that men like this definitely need to go to rehab?
No. I think that it's always beneficial.
Yeah.
But it's not an excuse. Like, I didn't get to go to rehab. Well, okay, cool. You got to deal with the cards that you have been dealt. There's help to be had, but it starts with even hearing a podcast like this, and maybe you haven't got caught yet. Maybe you're a younger man. I know I talk to a lot of young guys who listen to this pod, a lot of young men and women that we meet all the time, and I like hearing that, because you should listen to a podcast like this and a podcast from an old couple that's never cheated, never failed.
Yeah.
You need both.
Yeah.
And so from them, you can get a steady climb. From us, you can get some really interesting clues and perspectives to avoid some of the turns that we had to take because of Laura's problems. And that's this whole next season of the pod. I promise you it's going to be me finally speaking my piece. I cannot wait.
I can't either. It sounds
the issues
spicy.
that I have to carry every day, such as last night, for instance. I'm in my bed. No. Needs to be said on the record. I'm in my bed. And I don't know. I think there's still an ideal where couples think that other happy couples sleep in each other's arms. I'd like to poke a hole in that balloon today. If you are a couple that sleeps embracing each other,
cute.
It's incredible. Please text me. DM me or Laura today. Just a picture of you and your spouse smiling, because I want to say, hey, there's 10 couples that contacted us that actually do fall asleep.
What, like snuggling?
Holding each other's arm. And I say that in jest, but it's actually funny because we meet with couples that are struggling. They're like, we never fall asleep in each other's arms. I'm like, who told you that actually happens?
You had to do that.
We do not. Here's what we do. No. Here's what we do. You know, we have our prayer time together, whatever it may be. But typically, you're going to go to sleep, and I'm going to watch hopefully 30 minutes of Mayor of Kingstown or whatever awesome show I feel led to watch.
Some show that's got shooting and killing,
so here's the thing.
I'm
so
trying to peacefully go to sleep.
Snores like a...
I have sleep apnea.
Please don't give excuses. I want to talk about the facts. Here are the facts. You snore like a buzzsaw dead bird that's being choked.
Wow.
That's the like a buzzsaw, like a, and then a dead bird being choked would sound like that combined is what I deal with. So
that's from my
all my friends out there, I don't care what it's from. All my friends out there tell me, oh, here we go with the perimenopause. Great. So let me get this straight. So, and then you'll have the audacity, but can you turn your show down?
Absolutely.
So let me get this straight. So I have to live in silence so you can then fall asleep to be real loud. How does that make sense?
Well, because I fall asleep before you every time.
Yeah, while complaining because my small little shots.
Because you're chewing on your friggin' Spaceball crackers or whatever those are.
They're cheese puffs.
Cheese puffs.
Yeah. You got a problem with my cheese puffs now?
Crunching so loud while I'm trying to fall asleep. So yeah, you should either go to another room.
But your end goal is to be asleep where you're loud.
I can't help that.
So now I have to be quiet on the front end.
I actually can't help that. I got to go pick up my new mouth guard.
Thank you.
I've got a question. How do we know when a boundary isn't controlling and it's protecting?
Okay, it doesn't matter post betrayal. It just doesn't matter. It might be controlling.
Yep.
Deal with it. Own it with grace. It's fine. You have to accept it. It's completely reasonable. There will come a day where these things can be discussed. But if this woman is still demanding certain things after, certain boundaries, after a long period of genuine work by the man, cool. We got some issues to talk about. Mm-hmm. It doesn't happen, though, in our experience, because if you will just honor the crazy controlling boundaries you're given and grow, if you're doing your job right, it's going to put her on Front Street now. But it's not going to be your job with your words to be like, you're controlling this too much. How you prove that she's doing that is by honoring it, and that's not going to be the fulfillment. So this is what we mean. This is actually a good thing to bring up. So, for instance, early on, the first time I traveled, which I didn't do for two and a half years.
Yeah.
First trip I go on, I FaceTimed you from the room, had to leave it on for a while. I had to show the corners of my hotel room.
Let's go back, because even before you would travel, we had a plan that you would write up with your therapist.
Yep, which we did.
On, like, so I knew exactly. I had an itinerary basically. Yep. What time you would be getting to the hotel.
Yep.
What time you would call me. Where you were gonna have dinner. Like it literally to the T of like all of those things were written down. I knew where you were gonna be going for the meetings. Yeah. All of those things because I needed those. That.
And if you're listening, like, man, that seems intense. Now you know what seems intense? Getting a divorce, working out custody. Being single, living it, like that's way more work than me having to manage. Yeah. It just depends on how you hold it. So you did that,
and then you would call me when you would get to the room.
Yep. And for a while, I FaceTimed. And here's why I say that, because that's not going to stop me from cheating.
Right.
Logically, we know that. And it didn't matter. Mm-hmm. So for me to be like, babe, if I want to cheat, I'm just going to, I'll go to great lengths to, no, you know what it was? Cool, babe. If that's what you need, I'll live on FaceTime.
Yep.
And then you get to a point through your own growth where you're like, I no longer need that because that just makes me feel good and I needed it. But the truth is, where you've landed today, for instance, we still have major, cool, fun checks and balances, but you put your head down knowing that's between him and God now.
100%.
Because
I
there's
cannot
not
control
enough.
what you do,
Yeah.
but that's from 5 years of doing this.
Right.
But it's really important for her.
If it's healthy, babe, this
Yeah.
is what should happen. From our experiences, the wife should slowly be less controlling
Mm-hmm.
because she feels safer. So if you are on the side of the tracks where you're like, Carl, I've done the work, and my wife is still insane with her controlling boundaries, now you get to take that and say, what about your controlling that?
needs
Why
to-
are you still so unsafe? Is
Yeah.
he telling the truth? Because he's doing all you're asking.
Right. And
Now,
either she's not being
well, I'm
honest
afraid.
with what she
Cool,
needs.
work on that. That's
Yeah.
your responsibility because you can suffocate a husband that is sweet and kind and doing his best. You can quench his desire to be alive. Can he be stronger? Yes, but that's a different entire conversation. So we are speaking specifically to the man that has done the honorable work for a long period of time. There may come a cool conversation about some conditions and qualifications of your boundaries, but that's not for a while. And most of the guys asking that question, they're especially guilty of, hey,
They
bud, not for a while, man.
Yeah, don't
Carl,
ask those
it's been
questions,
a
bro.
year. I mean, at what point can I get my own Instagram back? Hey, bro, wrong question to
We've
be
got
asking.
people that have said it's been 10 years, and it's like, well, because you didn't do the
You've
work
never done
in
a
the
day of the work,
beginning.
bro. So it
Yeah.
hadn't been 10 years.
So it hasn't
It's
been
day
anything.
one.
Yeah.
It's
So
day one.
it
Yeah.
really is important.
So that's our answer. How to know if it's controlling or protecting? You're not going to know for a while. You're just not. It might be controlling, and you got to kind of live with that. And if a guy's like, well, I'm not living with that. I remember a guy told me that. He's like, I'm not living
Yeah.
with, I got to prove myself every day. I said, just get a divorce, bro.
Yeah. Just leave.
Stop
them.
it. You're
It's
belligerent.
ridiculous.
So, well, I'm just saying, man, I said I'm sorry. I've proven that I've changed, and I'm not going to.
Have you, though?
Have you, bro? Like,
Yeah.
really? Like, do you get to call that?
Right.
Is it my job to tell you that I've
Sure
proven
isn't.
it? No, it's the wrong spirit. This is important because, there are some vindictive women out there, and you've said that. As the betrayer, you have the right to dignity. You have the right to expect decency and non-shaming, abusive words thrown at you. So there have been people that will take advice like we're giving right now, and they will just wield them like weapons of destruction over this man. We don't believe that's healthy. So you have never once, I've said this a million times, I'll say it a million more, you've never shamed me or verbally abused me with mean words about what I've done. You have stood on it. You have been firm on it, but you've never, can't believe you've never done the shamey tones. And most guys that I have, asked, can Laura come into the situation, you've been able to sit in and hear from husbands, their wives are awful. It's not that it's not understandable. It's that it's hurting them. There is a wife who will push back and be like, he didn't give me any dignity. Great. Understand your logical premise now.
Yes.
So now you're returning evil for evil. At what point has that ever had anybody grow? Well, he disrespected me. He cheated on me. He made me look like a fool. So I'm going to call him a name here and there. You can. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying, is it helping you?
Right.
It ain't helping him.
Yeah.
You are making the man that you want to get better, you're making him worse. You're doing that. You can't make any man do anything. But what I'm saying is you are adding to the shame that hopefully is there. And I say that in a loving way. Like if you have a man that has originally felt no shame,
Yeah, that's
you're in
a
trouble.
problem.
Man, you got to get out of there quick because shame
Yep.
becomes selfish day 2. But if you are the one that's been betrayed, consider the words you use. Is demeaning him, reminding him of his flaws, telling him how awful he's been and how much you hurt on a regular, constant flow and basis. Is it helping you? Let us save you some time. It's not.
Yeah.
Might feel better, and things that feel better are often the things we don't need to be doing. This is a fact of life. So something to consider.
Let's talk about the broader things in play here that apply to everyone.
Okay. Angle number 1, you get what you tolerate.
Yep.
So that's to this email and beyond. People teach others how to treat them by what they allow and what they excuse. So this woman is right on deck now to consider, what have you tolerated? And to be fair, tolerance comes from trauma, fear, and fatigue, mainly, not weakness. So some people are like, oh, how could a wife tolerate that? She's weak. Nah, she's not weak. She's tired.
Yeah.
So you make concessions when you're tired. So if you have like a value for your kid, clean your room, and you come home and you're spent, you're like, all right, clean your stair.
Yeah.
That's kind of how when you see a woman that's like underneath that much infidelity, you're like, oh, how did she must be weak. Nah, she's probably tired, fatigued, and completely traumatized. Yep. And we repeat what we normalize.
Yeah, so women so often, they don't realize that they're tolerating things that they would never tolerate if they were in their right mind. What you have to understand is when you're in those beginning stages of betrayal, trauma, you're in shock and your brain's exhausted and there's so much going on and there's so many times you just wouldn't put up with this stuff. And so you look back and you're like, yeah, I should have stood up and I should have said this. How many times? And that's okay. So now's the time have to change it.
I think we look back. Yeah. Did you tolerate answers that you never had peace with? Yes, you did. Yep. Now you fight for the clarity you need because you're no longer traumatized. You're no longer tired. You're no longer exhausted by my actions. So therefore, you're able to see clearly what you do and do not want to tolerate. And I think that's really powerful.
I think, I was talking with someone the other day and I realized back when there was some things in our relationship that I was tolerating. And I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I put up with that for so long. And for those little things that I would see, now I can connect it all. But when you're in it, you don't because you're like, I just want to keep the peace. I just want to keep the family going. Yeah. And I don't want to start anything.
And can we say this, Bub? Can we say to the women who feel like that, give yourself a ton of grace. It does no good to judge yourself for being stupid. We pull women out of that all the time. We're not gonna allow you to say that about yourself in front of us. You're not stupid. Yeah. You did the best you could in the moment. You didn't see it like this. You do now. It does no good to be like, I can't believe I wasted 20. But no. You didn't waste a thing unless you choose to waste it. Now you can learn from it.
Well, I learned as well that because that is what you think about all the time. You're like, what was real? What wasn't? Why did I, all of these things. And my therapist taught me something really helpful, which was to help get over some of those thoughts was to validate that was true. Like, no, our marriage was real. Like there was moments in our marriage that were real and beautiful. And then you add on that like, oh gosh, and this is true. But now, and this is changing, and I see this in that person now. And all of those things help you to rewire your brain to think the positive parts because what you do is go, I'm an idiot. Like, why did I do that? And it's great when you can start to switch that. And it's possible, but you have to do a lot of work.
And it's not early on when you are caught lying, everybody questions everything. It happened to me on every level and it sucked. It's a horrible consequence that I earned. I earned the consequence. So it's like, oh, you lied. So did you preach stuff that wasn't true? It's like, you can't defend it for a while. You have to let people come to their own conclusions. Is that even logical?
Right.
Because I cheated on my wife, that what I said about Jesus isn't true. Of course it's not logical, but it's fair. Mm-hmm. So I had to learn for you, when you would question everything, I'd have to go, that's not going to be my repair. That's between her and God. Because I know I've always loved you. We did have beauty. But for me to point out the beautiful parts post-infidelity, it's like, hey, buddy, go jump in a lake of fire and baptize yourself. It's not fair. So I think that's good for guys to know that you it's not your time to point out the parts where you were not lying. That's not going to help. So why else might people tolerate? Very simply, and this is you. Again, listen to me if you have been tolerating stuff. And this is not just for women. There are men who have contacted me and like, I was the one who was cheated on. Yeah. It just is less common, but it's just as painful. Right. So these types of things lead to somebody tolerating. I fear conflict. If I set the boundary, I'll lose him. Ooh, think about that for a second. What are you losing? So now your baseline is I can only set boundaries that keep him. That's not the point of it.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a huge one because you're scared that because he's cheated, I'm going to lose them forever.
So in that moment, you got to be honest with yourself. Yeah. You don't want to, it doesn't matter what happens. You like the comfort of what you think is comfort in your marriage more than an honest relationship. Yeah. Face that sucker down. Or there are people who are hope addicts. Maybe this time he'll change. I've just given it to God. What God do you give that to? If you give it to the God of the Bible and you follow Jesus, there's going to be agency given right back to you. My husband is doing things and I've just given it to God. God, I believe, is going to say, I have not given you a spirit of timidity, but I've given you a spirit of power, of a sound mind. Because that's true, how might you confront this? The cop-out of I've given it to God. It's not a cop-out if you add, and I took my power back, and I made decisions, and I allowed what I learned from that prayer to go stand stronger. But people who act like, I've given it to God, now it's on God? Got it. Cool.
Well, it takes it away from you having to do anything to fix it.
Let's end with this because this is heavy. What obvious truth am I avoiding because knowing it would demand a decision? So this is where we can fast forward a lot of marriage counseling and go right there. So it's a question we ask people all the time. Like, there's a truth that you're not embracing.
Yeah, so what are you pretending not to know?
Yeah. Right? So this question, we would look at this beautiful person who we're praying for and we love, and we would say lovingly, what might you be pretending not to know about your husband? It might sound something like this: dude ain't changing. No matter what you've been through, your heartbreak, it hasn't been enough. You're dealing with a man that is not only not changing, probably continuing the actions. And you're pretending not to know this, because if you do know it, now you know you have to make some really, really bold choices. Might cost you comfort, money, standing, perception, image. Are those things more important to you than living honestly? If they are, just say it and say, I'm not interested in having a faithful man and a faithful marriage. I just want to look like I do. If that doesn't sit well, you are in line for a beautiful transformation. And tolerance is conditioned over time. It starts quicker than you think. And good Lord, I mean, I have a lot of grace because you see the way that even some young women, we were dealing with a situation with people in college where there's a house full of pretty awesome, vibrant young girls. There's one girl in there who has a boyfriend.
At a different college.
It goes to a different college. And the control that this guy puts on this beautiful girl is so nefarious. But it sounds like this. He told so there's 3 women who live in this house. They all have their own relationships. No other man can come into that house because you're my girlfriend. And she's abiding by this. And we were able to tell these roommates, hey, y'all, that's crazy. Like, imagine being 18 and having a man who doesn't live in the same area code tell you what you can wear to college. Okay. Imagine if she were to spin that back on that idiot. Okay, cool. No girls can come in your...
And he's an athlete too. So I was like, oh, right, bro, you're definitely...
But they don't see it coming. So you wonder, how could a woman get to a marriage and be so tolerant? It was conditioned over time.
Right.
What's the answer? Well, obviously to get young men and women to know exactly who they are. Ava Lentz, by God's grace, is going to look at you and say, I'm Ava, I'm valuable. The valuable me does not allow a man to tell me what I can and cannot do on a day. Like, it just is an outrageous premise. But that's how it happens. So people are like, how do these women tolerate stuff? Well, it's conditioned.
Okay, so it helps to ask this question. What pattern of mine keeps me stuck in their pattern? I'm saying pattern.
Pattern. You're saying pattern. Again, every week I have to qualify your lack of understanding when it comes to grammar due to your Australian life.
The person that's hurt has picked up some bad patterns.
Right.
As well as having to take responsibility for.
For us, it looked like this. You had a pattern, in my estimation, correct me if I'm wrong, you had a pattern of confronting and then avoiding if it was going to cause further conflict.
Oh, 100%.
Which aided and abetted my pattern of just enough truth to get by, and I'm going to act so bothered that if you press any further, boom, pattern. I do what I do, I do what I do, I do what I do. Here comes Laura. And her pattern is to bring it up, but then not too much.
Oh, not too much.
Because I don't want to make you mad. So we say that to the other person here. What pattern might you be involved with that you're ready to look at and stop? Begin a new pattern that gives you a lot more power and freedom. So we're going to end here because that's a lot to consider. And if you are in a situation where you're being told you're too controlling, your boundaries are too much, it's not fair until the context has been given. Why are your boundaries like that? Why? That's the question somebody else needs to be asking. And then we'll end with this question. If love costs you your peace, is it love?
I say no.
Our answer would be no. So if you think you're in love with someone or you're in a marriage and it's costing you peace to maintain it, an amendment needs to be made right away, because real love doesn't cost you peace. It produces peace. And I've said this to, my daughter has a beautiful friend, and she was involved in a really rough relationship. And she has equated love with pain. And we were able to tell her for the first time, real love doesn't make you less safe. Like, to be in love with this man, it's causing you to feel insecure and you never feel safe. Got to start questioning whether it's love that you're feeling.
The biggest need for any woman is to feel safe. And when that is broken, it's his job to fix that, to make her feel as safe as possible all the dang time.
Let's do this. Let's get real to the crux of it. So for the guy who's like, well, what am I allowed to do interaction-wise with other women? Here's a question that wives can look for from your husband if he's serious about any of this. What makes you feel comfortable and safe when it comes to how I interact with other women? And just listen. Do not judge. Hold the space. She might say nothing. Never talk to a woman again. You can't laugh. You can't scoff. You hold it. And then you keep holding it. And there will come a day you can revisit that. Where that goes is a beautiful place of connection. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. And so me and you have a constant, if you're like, what do Laura and Carl do with that? I have a set template with other women with you that you're aware of. And if it had to change or be amended, you get the right of refusal. Mm-hmm. Something as simple as I go to the same coffee shop here in Tulsa every day, sit at the same place, do a lot of work there.
At your lunch table.
And I call it the lunch table because the two people I see the most there are both women. After months of having conversations with these women, I came back unprompted and told you, hey, the people I interact with a lot at this table, here's the table, here's how big the table is, here's what the conversations are like. But I want you to know that I am developing a pretty cool friendship with these women in this way. How do you feel? Boom. It's a mobile conversation. And our number is going to get exchanged. Who's on the thread? What do those texts look like? Can I see them? Can I whatever? And it just builds. It's the opposite of controlling to me. It's peaceful. You need that.
Right.
So I'm happy to provide that. Why wouldn't I be?
Correct.
So if you're like, okay, I think I'm cool. Let me see the text with these two women. If I don't want to give you that, why?
Yeah.
Because I just told you it's all above board.
Right.
So often when men push back on stuff like that, like their passwords, like, if she trusts me, why does she need your password?
Oh, she needs your password.
Well, if she trusts you, why do you not want her to have it? Ding bat. Like you're exposing yourself right away. Like, because we trust each other, we have all kinds of secrets. That doesn't sound logical. Yet that's how, like, me and my wife, we trust each other so much, we don't even share passcodes. We don't even need that. Y'all need that because of what you've been through. Got it, buddy. Hate to break it to you. That's not because we've been through infidelity. That's because we're smart.
Yep.
That's because honesty is honesty. Lying is lying. So technically, if there are no secrets between the two of us, everything should be on the table. Mm-hmm. Your boundaries aren't controlling. Your boundaries aren't crazy all the time. There is a time and a place to have conversations that can shift. But for a while, again, as we shut this sucker down today, as the offender, I have to give grace for crazy boundaries. Let's call them crazy. Well, as the giver of crazy boundaries.
Yes. And they can be ridiculous.
They can be.
But they're also sacred.
Sacred.
And the boundaries without consequences are just requests. And I find that this happens a lot.
Well said.
That, we've got boundaries, but they don't actually follow through.
Don't talk to other women, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So you've got to talk about what they mean and what they mean to you, and talk about why. So there's more context to that as well.
Yeah. I mean, your boundary early was an absolute hard no on 17 different things. My response was no problem. As we've grown in our trust, some things have been amended that make sense to both of us. Mm-hmm. But that's the way I bring it. Not like, hey,
can we change?
I spent 3 years on the parole board here. Can I get back to my life of 17 different corners and entanglements? Is that cool? No, it's like, hey, because we're doing so well, let's talk about this. How does it make you feel? Email us, hello@carlandlaura.com. Sounds like a Costco business. I'm here for it. We're grateful for you. You're doing better than you think you are. Your job is to not give up. No matter where you find yourself on this journey, it's going to get better. It will. It will. So watch what you're thinking, watch what you're feeling, watch what you're doing. Never forget that you have the power to change at any time. This has been Lights On with Laura Lentz, co-hosted,
And
narrated
sometimes Carl Lentz.
by your boy. I love you.
Love you.
Peace.